I think we are live everywhere at the same time right now. And let's see that. Everything pinned, everything up. I think we're on everywhere. And we'll see in a moment. Hope everybody's having a great start to your day, week, month, whatever it happens to be. Topic here today. Shout out to everybody who was watching the replay of this in the university. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you take your next step with us. If you are watching this live, you want to know what the next step is, it's Work on Your Game University, which should be a link either in the comment or the bio, wherever you're checking in. Oops, mic's not on. All right, let's see if the mic's on now. Can y'all hear me now? Over here. This one. Can y'all hear me? All right, mic's is on here. Mic's on here. Mic's on there. Everybody can hear me now? Can everybody hear me now? As y'all are checking in, hope everybody's having a great day, week, month, start to your whatever it happens to be for you. The topic here today. Can you hear me on Instagram? Can y'all hear me? All right, y'all can hear me over on Instagram. Great. I know you can hear me on TikTok because I don't have a mic connected, so it's just the iPad mic. I know I can hear me over here because my mic is on. What are we going to talk about here today? I told y'all this was coming. We're going to talk about the rules for being a creator or an influencer. If you want to be active in this influencer economy or creator economy, whatever they're calling this thing now. I saw this. This is a topic that actually was being talked about like a year. And this is probably, what episode was this that I did? This was a while ago, maybe a couple of years ago. As a matter of fact, I was talking about this, but it's still a thing because a lot of people are jumping into this creator space. I remember my sister, who's similar in age to me, she's a little bit older, but she reached out to me because she has kids. She has 3 kids, and her kids are older than mine. And she reached out to me a couple of years ago, and her daughter, my niece, had decided, or at least she had the flashing idea, that she wanted to be a YouTuber when she grew up. And she said she had saw me on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. And this is something that is relatively new. So any of you who's over the age of, what we say, 30? If you're over the age of 30, we didn't grow up wanting to be YouTubers or influencers or creators because it wasn't even a business. It wasn't even a thing. You couldn't even do that. So we grew up wanting to be president of the United States, firefighter, athlete, actor, policeman, maybe a business person, accountant, maybe whatever your parents were or something like that. And now, since the internet has come along, social media has come along, now you have all these other ways of putting yourself out there. And people who are, let's say, under the age of 20, under the age of 30, you grew up having social media, having the internet. So a lot of people are running around, jumping in and wanting to do this and wanting to jump into being an influencer, being a creator, and getting into this economy. So what I'm going to talk about here today is for any of you who decide that you want to get into this, any of you who want to get into this game of being a creator or being in the influencer economy, being in this business, I'm going to give you some basic business rules that you need to understand. I don't care what it is that you are doing, whether you're YouTubing, TikToking, Instagramming, Facebooking, and we're live, by the way, on, actually, I didn't start my live on Facebook. Let me make sure I'm starting on Facebook. There we go. We are live now on Facebook. I forgot to start the Facebook live. Okay, so people who are watching on 1 second for Facebook, make sure that it starts. Again, as I said yesterday, we need one application that can do all of these things at the same time. We don't quite have it yet, so we got all these different ones going at the same time. So any of you who is wanting to get into the creator economy, whether you are Facebooking, YouTubing, Instagramming, TikToking, and whatever other ones come along, I'm going to give you some basic business principles that you need to understand while you're in this space, or maybe these principles will help you understand. Maybe you don't want to be in this space. Maybe you want to get into a different space, but you need to understand these because, again, these are principles. They do not change, and they are etched in stone. So for any of you who does not know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete, author of 35 books, 4 TEDx talks I've done, and I created this whole brand called Work on Your Game. What we do here is we take the principles to help athletes get to the top 1% of the sports world. We translate those over to the business and professional world to help people like you perform at your highest level, do so consistently, and of course, generate more business and make more money. So some people's asking me about mirroring the screen over on TikTok. Is this better? What's the difference for y'all? I mean, it's not like you're reading anything, just looking at me. But anyway, all right, if y'all like it this way, fine. All right, so anyway, what we're going to talk about here today, as I said, is what you need to understand about being on these platforms, and I probably shouldn't even be doing this live on these platforms, because once I start talking about what I'm going to talk about, they might suppress this because I'm going to be saying things that may be a little bit critical of these platforms. But I'm going to say it anyway because it's my responsibility to make sure I'm giving you all the game. That's why it's called Work on Your Game. My job is to give you the game. So back in episode 1690 of my masterclass, I have a show that comes out every day called Work on Your Game, by the way. And I talked about this topic. It was titled The Dirty Secret That Social Media Platforms Don't Want You to Know. If you have not listened to that episode, the gist of it is that social media is using you as a product. So any of you who is under this belief, this false idea that social media is free, social media is not free. Okay, so any of you who would need to understand this, social media is not free. Okay, should I say that again so that everybody can hear it? Social media is not free. You think Instagram is free. You think Twitter is free. YouTube is free. They are not free. The number one most valuable resource that every human being has is your time. And usually when we're giving attention to something, we're giving it our time. Your time and attention is the product on social media. The product is not the content that gets posted. The product is your time and attention. Let me explain to you how this works. The apps get us to create the content because Instagram doesn't create a ton of content. We create the content, right? So we'll just use Instagram or TikTok as an example, but this applies to all platforms, okay? So you create the content, and then everybody else goes and looks at the content, and we give our attention to it, and therefore we give our time. Now, Instagram and TikTok, and again, I'm just using them as examples, they can see all the time and attention you're using on the app. You know that they're tracking everything you do, right? Y'all know that. Okay, so now they know that Dre or Mike or Lisa is using this much time on the app. Now they go to advertisers, and I run ads on Instagram, and big advertisers like, let's say, Microsoft or Google or whoever, Nike, and they say to them, look how much time and attention people are spending on this app. You can run ads over here, and this is how much you have to pay to run the ads. So what TikTok and Instagram do to make their money, this is the reason why they're in business, is that they charge the advertisers money to show their messages and their advertisements to you. And in exchange, you go buy the products. Hopefully it's making money for the companies that are running the ads. Instagram and TikTok make their money from the people who run the ads. And that's their entire economy. And guess who is not involved in this? Because you're spending money and you're spending your time and attention. You're spending money on the people who run ads to you. So you click on the ads, you go buy stuff. And they are selling your time and attention. Instagram and TikTok, they sell your time and attention to make money off the advertisers. Guess who's not involved in this financial transaction? You. You're the only one not involved. Instagram makes money from running the ad, from charging the advertisers. The advertisers make money by selling you products. You are the product. You are the one that's being sold. Your time and attention is being sold to what's going on, Gustavo, over there on YouTube. You're the one who is being sold your time and attention. That's the most valuable thing you own, right? Because when you run out of money, you can keep living. You run out of energy, you can keep going. You can take a nap. You run out of focus, you can go eat a candy bar. You run out of time, they call that death. And your time is the number one thing that's being sold by social media apps. If none of us use social media at all, they wouldn't have a business because they wouldn't have anything to sell. You can't go to Amazon and say, hey, run ads on my platform, because nobody's looking at your platform. The time is the product. Okay, so I want y'all to understand, just as a baseline, there is no free social media apps. And a lot of people think that they're free. They're absolutely not free. So if you're going to use social media, you better be doing the math on what it is costing you versus what it is making you. And this is why I tell people all the time, if you're going to be on social media, you need to be using it as a producer, not just as a consumer. Because again, you are giving away your most valuable resource and getting nothing back in exchange. So now let's get into the points. I didn't get to my points yet. Point number one, we are talking here today about rules for the influencer and creator economy. If any of you has a question or a comment, I will address them all at the end when I'm done. So I got 3 points I'm going to share here today. Number one, if you want to be a professional Instagrammer, TikToker, or YouTuber, okay, or any other app that comes along, most important principle in business, you must own your material. You must own your material. Now, let me be clear and address some disclaimers here, because some of you may say, well, I already own the material. Because if you start posting on YouTube, you technically have ownership of all the content that you post on YouTube. You post on Instagram and TikTok, you technically own the content that you have posted on the apps. I'm going a little bit deeper than that. When I say own your stuff, I don't mean that you own the video that you posted yesterday that went viral and got 500,000 views. What I mean is you must own your access to the people that you are serving. And when you are a professional creator posting all of your content on these applications, you don't own anything. You own absolutely nothing. You're a TikToker and all your access to your audience, and thus your access to making money is based on you posting on TikTok, you don't own anything. You are a worker. You might think you're an entrepreneur. You're actually a worker. You're an employee of TikTok. Now, I'm being hyperbolic there, but that's basically how it works. They own you. Let me explain to you how they own you. Because if they decide to suppress your reach, or they decide to delete your account or ban you for whatever reason, how can you reach your audience? Well, you can't. As soon as they decide that you can't reach them anymore, it's over. If YouTube was to just block my account and just say, Dre, you can't post on YouTube anymore. If all my business is based on posting on YouTube, how much business can I do? Zero, because my access to my audience, it has to go through YouTube in order to reach them. Or I got to go through TikTok, or I got to go through Instagram, or I got to go through Facebook to reach my audience. If the only way you can reach the audience that is positioning you to make money is going through a third party, i.e. a social media app, you do not own anything. They own you. This is the most important thing you must understand. If you are a full-time Instagrammer, TikToker, YouTuber, I'm not going to keep saying all those apps every time, but you're a full-time influencer or creator, whatever app you are using to reach your audience owns you, because the only way you can reach the audience is to log into the app. So what if you can't log into the app anymore? What if somebody hacks your account? What if they just kick you off? What if you get banned? What if anything happens? What if the app just decides they don't want to run it? What if TikTok just gets shut down in America? They say no more TikTok in America. What are you going to do? You have no business, because all the people who like you, they know you through TikTok. They don't have any way. You don't have any other way of reaching them. So here's what you do. Here's your recourse to this is you need to get people off of these apps and able to access you, and you able to access them in ways other than through the app. Now, they might still access you through the app, but you need another way to reach them. In other words, you need their contact information, a phone number, email address, physical address. These are all things that we call a list. In business, the most important thing you can own in a business is a list. A list is access to people, direct access to people, not through an app, direct access to people. Again, I just told you, email address, phone number, physical address. These are direct ways to access a person. I don't have to log into Instagram if I have your email address. I can just email you. If I have your phone number, I don't have to go to Instagram to talk to you. I can call you or text you, or I can even send physical mail to your house if I know where you live. If I have your address. But you have to have these things. If you don't have these, you don't have a list. If you don't have a list, you don't have a business. Most valuable thing in a business is the list. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I believe it was Microsoft bought what company? I think it was Skype. I believe it was Microsoft, and I believe it was Skype that they bought. And it doesn't even matter if I got the details of which company. I'm pretty sure it was Microsoft bought Skype. Microsoft bought Skype for a couple of $1 billion, billion with a B. I believe it was $8 or $9 billion. And again, the details of this with the transaction are not important. The point is, why did Microsoft buy Skype for $8 or $9 billion? The reason that they bought Skype for that much money is not because they needed the technology. All right, Microsoft has smart people at their company that can make the exact thing that Skype has. They could have made that themselves. They didn't need to buy Skype to get the technology. They bought Skype because Skype has a whole bunch of users, people that Microsoft wanted access to. The reason they paid so much money is because they wanted the people, not the technology. They could easily make the technology. Any of you who has been on social media long enough to remember when Snapchat was the hot thing and everybody was using Snapchat because it had the stories and nobody has stories. Now everybody has stories, right? There's YouTube stories, there's Facebook stories, there's Instagram stories, there's TikTok stories. I think LinkedIn even has stories. Everybody has a story function now, right? But remember when Snapchat came out and everybody was doing it? Everybody was using Snapchat. Instagram, or Facebook rather, because Facebook owns Instagram. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, they tried to buy Snapchat. They offered Snapchat $3 billion. Now, why did they offer Snapchat $3 billion? Because, first of all, let's see what happened. First of all, Snapchat said no. Snapchat did not sell to Instagram or Facebook, excuse me. And when they said no, you know what Facebook immediately did? They said, all right, well, if y'all not going to sell us what you do, we're going to create our own story function. So if you remember, there was a time when there was no such thing as Instagram stories. There was just Instagram. You would just post if there was no story. They went and copied Snapchat's whole thing and put it in Instagram. Now you have Instagram stories. They just copied Snapchat's whole technology. They copied everything Snapchat was doing and put it in Instagram. And now everybody started using Instagram stories. I don't even use Snapchat anymore. And I liked Snapchat, but it was the only place where you could have a story. Now Instagram has stories. Well, I don't need Snapchat anymore. And why was Facebook, why was Facebook offering Snapchat $3 billion if they could have easily done that from the beginning? Why they even offer them money? Why would you pay $3 billion for something that you can make yourself? Anybody know the answer? Okay, here's the answer, class. The reason why Facebook / Meta, Mark Zuckerberg and them, wanted to pay $3 billion for Snapchat is because Snapchat had a whole bunch of users. They wanted the people. They didn't need the tech. The technology they did themselves. And you saw Instagram stories. They just went and made it, and it took a week. They made the whole thing. They didn't need the technology. They didn't need the technological help. They could do that on their own. What they needed was the people. They wanted access to all those users Snapchat had. Snapchat has a whole bunch of young users between the ages of, let's say, 13 and 21. Facebook wanted that. They were willing to pay $3 billion to get access to those people. That's what they were paying for. And I'm saying all of that to help you all understand that the most valuable thing you own in business is access to people, not the thing that you do. It's the access to the people that people are willing to pay for. So go back to what I said at the beginning here. If your access to people is owned by somebody else, then you don't own anything. You don't have a business. That's the point. So the fact that you can do a thing, or you can do a dance, or you're funny, or whatever, you post pictures that make people like them, you get likes and comments, that's all good, but that's duplicatable. There'll be another funny person come along. Somebody else can do a dance. Somebody else can post pictures and get likes and comments. The most valuable thing you own in the business is direct access to your people. And if you must go through an app to get access, you don't own it. They own you. And they can cut you off anytime they want to. And then you'll realize how much of a business that you actually don't own. All right. That is the game. All right, everybody follow me here. If you have any questions or comments, by the way, I will address them all at the end. So in a business, the most valuable thing you own, again, I'm going to say this over and over again, is access to your people. So all of you who are following me on any of these apps or listening to me right now, the most important thing that I want to do, my goal is to get you from following me here, still follow me here, but I want to get you on my email list. I want to get access to you directly to where even if I'm never using these apps ever again, I can still get direct access to you and have a conversation with you, even if I don't need to go through these apps. So if all these apps just kick me off, I remember they kicked Andrew Tate off everything and they kicked Donald Trump off everything. They still have a way of accessing the people that like them, even though they're no longer on social media. You need that. Okay. Do not depend on social media as your only access, because again, then you are owned. You don't own, you are owned. Okay. They can terminate your access at any time that they feel like it. And if you know anybody who ever got their social media account, just delete it out of nowhere. Like I remember someone was telling me that they had a friend who was doing all their business on Instagram. They had like 30,000 followers on Instagram. And then one day Instagram just said, well, you're kicked off of Instagram. And it didn't explain why. And any of you who's ever had an issue with any of these apps and you tried to reach the company to try to figure things out, good luck. All right, it's good luck. I had a Facebook page with 18,000 likes or followers, whatever you call it, about a year ago. It got hacked. And I couldn't reach anybody at Facebook. And I spend $1,000 a month on ads. Still couldn't reach anybody at Facebook. And I had to start a new page. I just lost all those people. And all of my business was based on reaching people through that Facebook page. I would have been screwed. And any of you who all your business is based on reaching people through one of these apps, do not put yourself in a position to where you can have your legs taken out from under you. All right, so everybody understands that baseline. Point number 2, we're talking here today about rules for those of you in the creator or influencer economy. Number 2, let me be clear. I am not saying that it's wrong if you want to pursue this path. All right, so if you're 19 right now and you want to be a YouTuber because you've grown up with YouTube and Instagram and it looks cool and it looks fun and it looks like it's an easy career to get into, I'm not telling you not to do it. Now, would I do it? No. But if you want to do it, go ahead, do it. I just want you to understand with the equipment, you can get into this business. And another reason why people get into it is because with the equipment that you already have, you can pretty much start a business from your couch. But I don't want your entire business to be based around this, based on what I just told you in point number 1. What you need to do instead is you need to leverage social media. So I use social media. Those of you who see these lives, I do these lives every day, at least Monday through Friday. I do these lives every day. So I'm not against social media. Any of you who's been following me for a while, I post on social media all the time. I got probably 13,000 videos on YouTube. I post on X often. I post on Instagram a bunch of times a day. I post on TikTok a bunch of times a day. Look at my feed. You see, I'm posting all the time. So I'm not against social media. I have no problem with the existence of social media. And I also have no problem with the use of social media. However, on a side note, for those of you personally, make sure you are producing more than you're consuming on social media. I already told you this in point number 1, because they are using your time to sell their advertising space and you're not making any money off of it. And at the same time, as you are using these apps, your job is to create leverage. So you want to leverage social media into something that you own. In other words, get people who are following you on social to come follow you in other places to where, again, you don't have to go through the middleman. All right, everybody understand this? Okay. So when I say own things, it doesn't mean you had to build the next Microsoft. Doesn't mean you had to you got to go buy a building, but you can have a list. You must have a list. What is a list? That is direct access to your people that does not require you logging into an app, and it doesn't require them logging into an app. I just told you what that is. Email address, phone number, physical address. If you have one of those three, you can reach a person directly. Email address, phone number, physical address. Now, let me show you how all these apps already understand this, because when you sign up for any one of these social media apps, they ask you for this information, don't they? Don't they ask you for your email address when you sign up for the app? If you don't remember, you do. They do. And if you were to log out and log back in, guess what you got to put in there to log in? Give us your email address, give us your password, because that's how they connect you to the account. And then what do? They give you, make sure you get two-factor authentication, right? So you got to make your account more safe. Give us a phone number. So just in case somebody steals your password, we can verify you through your phone number. So guess what they just collected? Your email address and your phone number. They are doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. If you pay attention, understand they're doing everything I'm telling you to do. So don't think that I'm just making this up. Look at it. Look at your login to whatever app you're watching me on right now. They have your email address. They got your phone number. All right. They know exactly who you are. So if their app goes away, they can still contact you because they got your phone number and your email address. They don't have to go through the app. You got to go through the app. All right. So pay attention. All right. This is what they're doing. So understand that what makes an entrepreneur, folks, is that you are taking on risk. Definition of an entrepreneur is a person who starts a business venture while taking on greater than normal financial risk. Let me ask you a question. When you are a TikToker or a YouTuber, how much financial risk are you taking on? Generally, you're taking no risk. And that may be a good thing. I mean, you can start reaching people without taking any risk whatsoever. But what makes a person an entrepreneur is the fact you're taking on risk. So until you put yourself in a position of risk, you aren't really eligible to get much reward. Now, are there some exceptions? People who just get rich posting on TikTok? Sure, I'm sure there are. But exceptions prove the rule. They do not disprove the rule. Anytime you can point out an exception, that's more proof that the rule exists. So if I say, if you want to be a professional basketball player, you usually got to be tall, like 6 feet or over. And then somebody comes up and says, well, this guy was 5'9", and this guy was 5'7", and this guy was 5'3", right? So what do you say to that? I say the fact that you can point out the three exceptions is more proof that the rule exists. Every time you can point out a couple of exceptions to a rule, that's more proof of the rule. A rule doesn't mean it's a guarantee it happens every time, but it generally is true. So if I say something like people who graduate from college tend to make more money in their careers than people who only graduate from high school, and you say, well, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college and he's a billionaire worth whatever he is, I say, okay, does that disprove the rule? No, because most people who graduate from college go on to work at jobs. Most people who only graduate from high school, they go get a job too. And the person with the college degree makes more money than the person with the high school diploma. It's still true. The fact that you can point out the exceptions is more proof of the rule. Everybody following what I'm saying here? So, entrepreneur, you must be taking on greater than normal financial risk. What risk are you taking TikToking? All right, none. No, actual risk you're taking is that they can pull your feet out. They can pull the rug out from under you and kill your business with one click of a button. That's the real risk you're taking. Most people don't even realize that is a risk until it's too late. So moving on to point number 3. We're talking here today about rules for anyone who is in the creator space. What's going on, Advanced Rex over there on YouTube. We're talking about rules for anybody in the creator/influencer space. Number 3. Someone has said, because I saw this article that someone had written in the New York Times, and she basically wrote it out as a thread on X/Twitter, where some creators were saying something like there should be a basic income guarantee for anyone in the creator space. Like every creator, if you are, because they were saying like, well, the creators, and some of you may be creators listening to this, they're like, well, the creators are putting all this content on these apps, and we're supplying all the material for these apps on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. We're supplying all the material for these companies. They should give us a basic income because we're the ones that are kind of keeping them afloat. This is what the creators are saying. We're keeping them afloat by putting this content out. So they should give us a basic level of income on a consistent basis to basically, to just pay us, just supplement us because we're creating all the content. My response to that is bullshit. That's bullshit. No, they shouldn't give you a basic income just because you're creating content. You're giving your content away for free. If you are a TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, you understand that the deal is you are putting this content on these apps for free in exchange for attention. That's the deal. And listen, these people who were talking in this thread, talking about this stuff, I put out more content than all of them probably put together over the last 20 years. I got probably 30,000 pieces of content on the internet right now, today, all public. Between the basketball stuff I did for 10 years, the mindset stuff I've been doing for probably 15, and a mix of everything else all together. Videos, clips, reels, shorts, textual posts, and live streams like this. And what else I got? Photos with captions. I probably have 30,000 pieces of content on the internet. I've never once said, man, I'm putting all this content out. Instagram should pay me just for putting out content. No, the deal is I put all this content out because it's going to draw the attention of people like you all. And that attention, my job is, once I get your attention, is to get you to take the next step, which is getting off the app and come finding me somewhere else. That's the deal. That's the exchange of using social media. I understand that it's free. It's free for me to publish. In exchange for that free publishing, I'm trying to get your attention. And then my job is to translate that attention into you taking some action. And if I fail to do that, that's my mistake. That's not on Instagram. It's not on TikTok. I'm not depending on them to do that for me, because if they do it for me, then there's a cost to that. If they do something for me, I got to pay them. Remember, folks, second rule of economics, no such thing as a free lunch. First rule, supply and demand. Second rule of economics, there is no such thing as a free lunch. So anything you are doing or that you have, and if you think it is free, it is not free. You are either paying for it in ways that you don't understand, or somebody else is paying for it and you just don't understand that they're paying for it. So when you hear politicians talking about, I heard they were saying that the Kamala Harris campaign was saying that they're going to offer a $25,000 stipend to anybody who's a first-time home buyer if she wins the election in November. And anybody who gets their home the first time, the government is going to give you $25,000. That sounds great. Let me ask you, who's giving it? Where that $25,000 coming from? Any of you know? The government can't just give you $25,000. You know where that money's coming from? It's coming out of your pocket. All right, any of you has a job, next time you get a paycheck, look at the deductions, the tax deductions. All right, that $25,000 is coming out of your check. All right, the government, Kamala Harris don't just have $25,000 just to give you. All right, so what the government does, they take from people who can take care of themselves and they give it to everybody else. So do not be fooled. Oh, Kamala Harris is going to give me $25,000. That's your vote for her. She's not giving you that money. That's your money. The money that's been coming out of your check every 2 weeks for the last 10 years. That is your money that she's quote unquote giving you. All right. The government cannot give you money. All right. That money is coming out of somebody else's pocket. So do not be fooled. All right. And this is a whole other conversation, which we will have between now and the November election. I have more opinions on that. We're not going to talk about that here today, but y'all got to understand. Y'all have to understand. I'm going to answer questions in 1 second. Y'all got to understand that there is no such thing as a free lunch, folks. So anything you think you're being quote unquote given by anyone, you better find out what the exchange is. Nobody gives something for nothing. That does not happen. Only people who give you something for nothing and what nothing in exchange might be your mother and father. Other than that, nobody else is giving you anything for free. Okay. Maybe your mom and dad, if that. Everybody else, if they give you something, they want something back. All right, so you better find out what they want before you accept it. Everybody got it? All right. So a fish that doesn't look before they reach for that quote unquote free food hanging in the ocean, you know what happens to them? They end up on the hook. All right. Then they end up in a picture with some fisherman holding up the dead fish and taking pictures and putting it on Facebook. All right. That's how any of you is going to end up. You keep taking things for free or quote unquote free. It ain't free. Nothing in life is free. Okay. Only thing free is what you have in your physical body, like your eyes, your ears, your brain, your arms. That's free. Everything else costs. Nothing is free. Okay, so, and again, any of you got a question or comment, put it in the comments now. I'm going to recap my points, then I'll address it, and I'll just go down the line on all these apps, and we'll address questions. So I'm talking here today about rules for any of you who want to get into the creator or influencer economy if you are looking to get in or you're already in. Number one, if you are a professional influencer, understand that you don't own anything if all of your access to your audience is going through these apps, because they could delete your access anytime they want to, and then you are standing there with absolutely nothing. So if you really want to own a business, you must have direct access to your audience, not going through an app, but going through direct, again, email address, phone number, physical address. If you have one of these of a person, they are part of what we call a list. If you don't have these, you don't have a list. And if you don't have a list, you do not have a business. Again, this is the reason why Facebook wanted to pay $3 billion to buy Snapchat because they wanted the people. It's not the technology. They copied the technology in like 3 days. They already know how to do that. What they wanted was the access to the list, Snapchat's list of young internet users. They weren't able to get it. That's why they were offering $3 billion for it. Microsoft paid $8-9 billion for Skype, not because they didn't know how to make Skype. They wanted the people. They wanted Skype's people. There's a reason why they paid $8 billion for it, because they wanted the people. If you don't have access to people, direct access, meaning not going through an app, you do not have a business. Okay, what you have is a social media account. That's not a business. Number two, I'm not saying it's wrong to be an influencer or creator. Some of you may have kids, or some of you are younger, under 25. Maybe you've grown up thinking about this. What I'm saying is you must learn to leverage social media to get people off of the apps and into your world, which you own, not these apps. You do not own these apps. You do not own your platform. You do not own your followers. Any of you think you have followers? Now, I don't have any followers. On all these apps, I think I got 140K or something on YouTube. I got probably 9,000 on Twitter/X. I got 20 something thousand on Instagram. I don't know how many followers I got on TikTok, maybe 3. I don't remember last time I looked. None of these, I don't have any followers. Somebody asked me how many followers I got? 0. I have 0 followers. You know why? Because if TikTok deleted my account today, how many of those followers can I access? 0. If Instagram deleted my account, how many people can I access? 0. If YouTube deleted my account, how many people can I access? 0. So you don't have any followers. They're not your followers. If you delete your account, what's going to happen to the people that are following you? Nothing's going to happen to them. That's why they're not yours. It's not yours if you don't control access. Everybody understand this? All right, so do not get fooled by what's happening on social media. All right, they are fooling a whole lot. And the social media apps will never tell you any of the things that I'm saying here today, which is why I said I probably shouldn't even be posting this on here, because they'll probably delete this, because the fact that I'm saying it on these apps is that they won't tell you this, because if they tell you that, then you might stop posting. They want you to keep posting. So they keep selling you this idea that these are yours and that you own something, that you have a business because you're on TikTok. Are you crazy? Or they own you. Right? They will delete you anytime they feel like it, as soon as they don't need you. And one more thing, by the way. The social media apps make most of their money from big brand advertisers, meaning like the Nikes, the Googles, the Apples. You know how much money these companies spend in ads? They spend like millions of dollars every day on ads. Millions of dollars per day on ads. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they make most of their money from those guys. In terms of their ad revenue, that's where most of their money comes from. And by the way, companies like Google and Facebook, they put their annual reports out publicly. So you can read this stuff. If any of you didn't know, you can buy $1 worth of stock in any of these companies, and they give you their annual reports every single year. They give you their quarterly reports. You can read these and find out how much money they're making from ads. Facebook makes 95% of their money from ads. And most of that money comes from big brands, not you spending $1,000 a month, not me. That's not where they get most of their money from. They cut all of us off, us individual advertisers. It would not affect them. They make most of their money from big companies. Now, why does that matter? That matters because if one day Facebook decides, you know what, we don't want to deal with these small advertisers who are paying us $10,000 or less every month. So anybody who's paying us less than $10,000 a month in ads, you can't run ads anymore. They could do that. They could just say, we don't want your money. You spent $500 last week on ads, so we don't need that. You know how much Nike paid us? $5 million. Why we need your $500? We don't need you. They will cut everybody else off and only allow the big advertisers to advertise. How are you going to reach an audience now? How are you going to sell your products? How are you going to sell your course if you can't run ads? The whole point here, folks, is you need to build a business that is not so dependent on these apps, because again, first of all, they can cut you off anytime they feel like it. Number two, they do not need you as much as you think they do. And number three, you need them more than they need you. All right, so do not get fooled. Number three, and again, this is coming from a person who publishes, I probably publish more content on social media than all of you put together. And I'm still saying this because I understand the game. And number three, someone was saying that creators should get some basic income. That's bullshit. No, you are owed nothing when you're on these apps. They owe you absolutely nothing. And you can tell that they owe you nothing because they ain't giving you nothing. All right, so you can cry about it, but you ain't getting anything. Anybody complaining about their status in the creator economy clearly wasn't paying attention in their business courses. Business means entrepreneur, means you are running a business enterprise while taking on greater than normal financial risk. So if you're running a business and you took on zero financial risk, you're not really running a business. Until you put some skin in the game, those of you who know what that means putting some money on the table that you might not get back. You are not really running a business. All right, that's pretty much how it works as an entrepreneur. So questions, comments, go ahead and post it in there. I will address them now. I'm going to start on I'll start with the one that has the least, I think. What's going on? Advanced Rex over on YouTube. Appreciate you. Let's see if we got any comments on Facebook. I don't think I got any comments on Facebook. Then I will do, I'll do TikTok, then I'll do Instagram. So if you got a question or comment on Instagram, go ahead and post it. TikTok, you got a question, go ahead and post it. I'm looking at them now. So y'all like this mirrored screen better? I don't know what the difference is. I've been doing it the other way since then, but I don't know what the difference is. So somebody asked, did I press that shirt? I don't iron my own clothes. We take it to the dry cleaning. All right, so somebody was saying the books are backwards. I've been like that the whole time. I don't know what the difference is. Anyway, let's see. Somebody said, what are you trying to sell us? I'm not selling you anything. Whatever I'm selling, you might not be able to afford, all due respect. Let's see. Looking sharp. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sugar Rush. Appreciate it. Thank you. Stanley, I appreciate that. Sasha said, how many books can you read in a month? We count audio books or just physically reading like digital and physical books? If we count audio books, I can read a lot because I can absorb material very quickly through my ears. So I can put it on faster speeds and I could read a whole book in a day if we count audio books. So how do I practice delayed gratification? That's my biggest struggle. Delayed gratification is a form of discipline, which is sourced from structure. I've talked about that in some lives. I would suggest you go to my show. It's called Work on Your Game. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Comes out every day for free. And listen to some of my episodes on mindset. That's where I would start. And then your next step is Work on Your Game University. But my show that comes out every day is completely for free. It comes out every day. So that's where you should start. Love, Joy. Appreciate you. Thank you. I agree. Confidence is high. I agree with that. So someone said free food in schools for kids and parental leave is all bad. I didn't say anything about either one of those topics. I don't know where you got that from. Question is, do I support Trump or Kamala? I don't support either one of them. I support myself. I support my personal economy and Work on Your Games economy. The government, since you asked the question, I'm going to do more lives where I'm going to talk about politics more specifically on a high level, though, not like you don't need to follow politics to understand what I'm going to say. But I will say this. If you are capable of taking care of yourself, like financially, you can pay your own bills and all that stuff. The government doesn't give anything to you. They take from you. Think about it. What's the government ever given to you? Nothing. So any of you who pays your own bills, meaning you're not on welfare, you're not homeless. All right, the government does not give anything to you. They just take stuff from you. That's all they do. Name one thing the government's ever given you. Anything you think you got, quote unquote, got from the government was paid for with your money, the taxes that you pay. So the government doesn't give you anything if you can take care of yourself. The only people the government gives to are people who are homeless and destitute, and they give them stuff. But what they give them is complete garbage. So you don't want to be in that position. Government is not designed to give you anything. So the question is, should we be upset to pay a bit more in taxes so kids in public schools can eat free meals? Well, I can't tell you how to feel. Not my role to tell you how to feel. You feel how you want. Question. Somebody said, just wondered since he mentioned Kamala's policies. I mentioned something that Kamala said. Even if Trump said it, I'll tell you the same thing. It has nothing to do with Kamala herself. Anybody could say that. If Obama said it, if Clinton said it, if Trump said it, if whoever else said it, I'll say the same thing that I just said. It's not about the person. Question, do I play basketball? No basketball. Question is, all right, Money Man Mac, appreciate you. Instagram, you got questions, go ahead and post it. I'm going to address them in 1 second. G Goat said, been watching you since middle school. Appreciate that. Dynasty said, I'm not saying what I'm selling anything. I said, you probably, I'm not asserting, but maybe you can't. Yeah, you watched me as a kid. No, I do not play ball anymore. I stopped playing ball like 10 years ago. Go Yo Gots. I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, make sure you follow me because I got more. I usually do these lives Monday through Friday. Government gave me a free education. No, they didn't. You paid for that. Or your parents paid it in taxes. They did not give it to you. You said it too quickly on the spot. Yes, Work on Your Game. Yes, the name of my show is Work on Your Game. You can find it on Spotify. Just type in my name or type in Work on Your Game. Somebody said public school is prison training. Well, maybe. Somebody said, Should we be trying to have a class action lawsuit? I don't know what he's referring to. All right, Instagram, you got a question or comment, go ahead and post it. I'll address them right now. What we were talking about here today is rules for anybody who wants to be in the creator economy. If you got a question or comment, let me address it right now. And by the way, after these lives come down off these platforms, they don't stay up forever, then they will be in Work on Your Game University. Question is, so somebody else asked me, do I play ball? No, I do not play basketball at all. Not for fun, not for serious, for no reason whatsoever. I play zero basketball. Head 2759, appreciate it. Soul Art says Snapchat messed up. LOL. Well, I mean, they decided. Snapchat still exists. I think they're still out there. They still got a bunch of young people using their app still, despite the fact they didn't sell out to Facebook. But I don't know. I would have took the money. But I understand. I understand why they didn't take it. Let's see. Somebody asked, what do I use for my funnels? ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a software. It's not a site. I mean, they have a site, but their software is called ClickFunnels. That's what I use. Let's see. PD, you got to stop posting these. You're spamming my lives with your comments. You got to get out of here. You keep posting these every day when I'm doing my lives. You got to go. Josh says, any hints on how to find out the reasons why someone gives you something for free, be it personal or business life? Yeah, you got to know people's angles. You got to know somebody's agenda. You always have to know someone's agenda if someone's going to give you something. Again, nothing is free. So your job, and we call this perspicacity or just simply discernment. Discernment means judgment. It just means understanding what's really going on as opposed to what's being told to you. That's called discernment. I have a whole episode on my masterclass about that. You're not going to find it on the feeds because we got too many episodes, but you'll find it in Work on Your Game University. Discernment is about being able to see what's really going on. So someone gives you something and they present it as if they're just giving you a gift. They're not really giving you a gift. There's a cost to that. You just don't know what the cost is. Your job is to figure out what that cost is. That's your job. So Josh, what you're asking is a good question. My answer is that's your job. That's exactly what you're responsible for, is figuring out what it is that comes on the back end. And understand that just because someone gives you something right now and asks for nothing in exchange doesn't mean you're paying for it in a moment. Your payment might come a year from now. They may ask you for something in exchange because they gave you something today. So read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. He talks about this. He talks about what was the I forget the phrase exactly that he said in the book, but read the 48 Laws of Power. If you read the whole book, one of the laws is about if you want to get something from another person, the best way to do it is to give them something first. And charity has its limits. There's only so many times someone will give you something and they really are just giving it to you and asking for nothing. That's called charity. But charity has a limit. And eventually somebody wants something in exchange, they're going to keep giving you stuff. And even when people give to charity these days, how you know they gave to charity? If somebody gives to charity, how do you know? You know because they announced it. So what they're getting in exchange for giving is they get the good feelings and the goodwill and the credit for being a charitable person. Look how nice he is. He gave a bunch of money to charity. All right, that's why they're giving. They're giving to get that. They're giving to get the goodwill and the good feelings and the attention that comes with giving to charity. Anytime someone gives to charity and you know about it is because they announced it. Notice when people give to charity, they got a camera crew with them. All right, if you were really just giving out the kindness of your heart, we wouldn't know about it. Purest form of giving is anonymous to anonymous, meaning nobody knows that you gave and you don't even know who you're giving it to. But see, when people give charitably, they're giving because they want the attention. Why do people give money to colleges? So they can have a building named after them. All right, everything has an exchange, folks. You just it's just a different way of thinking. I think like this on a natural level, so it is why it's easy for me to explain it. But also I've read about this. I've heard other people talk about this, and I just understand how people operate. It's one of the main things that I focus on is how people operate and why people do the things that they do. It's just human psychology, which is something I've been a student of for probably 25 years. So your job is to just, Josh, is sharpening your skill of discernment, just understanding why people do what they do. The better you get at that, the better you'll understand why people are doing things. Somebody said, elderly man told me he doesn't accept any gift because then he's obligated. Exactly. So nothing is free, folks. Anything the government announces, any politician announces they're going to do something, there is a cost on the back end to doing that thing. So when the Harris campaign said you're going to get $25,000 as a first-time home buyer, All right, that money's coming from somewhere. She's not pulling that out of her bank account. It's coming from somewhere. Somebody has to pay for that. All right, everything comes at a cost, folks. Just keep that in mind. Do not accept a free gift thinking that it's free. You accept the gift knowing that you got to pay for it, then it's cool. As long as you know you got to pay. And then just make sure you know what you have to pay before you take it. Because every free bait comes with hooks. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, folks. As I said, I do these lives usually Monday through Friday around this time, somewhere between 8 o'clock and 8:20 a.m. is usually when I start them. We go anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes talking about business things, personal development things, professional development things, mindset things. So if you like this stuff, be here for these lives. If you want to take the next step with me, this ain't for everybody, but we're looking for people who are really high-level performers, serious and ambitious about reaching your goals. That's at Work on Your Game University, which is the link in my bio wherever you are watching this. Y'all can find it. Again, just workonyourgameuniversity.com. And that's that. Everybody have a great rest of your day and great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. We out of here.